It's a huge clash, and currently, Martin, Manchester City 10 points clear. Win this one, 13 points clear of the chasing pack, and it's game over, isn't it?
Sounds easy, doesn't it?
Yes.
Just won 11 games on the bounce. This Man City team is just, formidable. Really, the way they pass the ball, it's quite brilliant. But Chelsea, they're the European champions. They're the current winners of the European Cup. So it's the Premier League champions versus the European Cup winners. Two outstanding teams, probably along with Liverpool, the best three teams in Europe, I believe. Been absolutely magnificent. Chelsea recently, I think, 1 win in 5. So it's fallen away, but they're capable, and they have to treat this game like a cup final. This is like they have to win this game, because if they can close the gap to 7 points, other things can happen. They can, other teams can maybe do them a favour along the way. That can be helpful. I do feel they're capable of doing that. And Lukaku is the one player who could maybe he could be the match winner for Chelsea in this one. I mean, he's almost like he's like a pussycat, isn't he, when he's not angry, and then he becomes a tiger, and you want that tiger this weekend.
Right. So how do you rile the pussycat?
By talking about him. He has to be the focus of attention. He's the sort of, I don't know of a player that's been talked about by managers more, his own club manager, than any other player. And it seems to, once he becomes the focus of attention, it seems he rises to that. He's done that for Belgium. He's done that successively at different clubs he's been at. And I just feel maybe it's going to be a counter-attacking Chelsea, because they do like to hold possession if they can. Man City, we know, will dominate possession. And the pace he has from distance, from midfield, is quite phenomenal. I mean, he's an incredible athlete. He's awesome in the air. Also very, very quick. It's an unusual combination in itself. And when he's hungry, when he's fired up, he can be a nightmare for the opposition. So he could be the match winner. But City could bury them early in the game. If you think back to the Liverpool game, the 2-2 game at Stamford Bridge, it was 2-0 to Liverpool very early in the game, because Chelsea are so brave with their wing backs. They pushed them really high, and they left Salah really 1v1 with Riddick, who was very good in that situation, but not against Salah, and they punished them. But Chelsea kept going. Kovacic in midfield doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think he's a wonderful player, him and Conte, but they'll have their work cut out in a midfield area where Man City usually dominate.
If they have their full squad, it becomes a different story. But it kind of suggests there he's already making some excuses early on, perhaps.
I don't think he is.
No?
I think he's been factual. Man City, I mean...
But this is a side, hang on, Martin.
They've hardly lost any players, Man City, through COVID and through injury. Mahrez has gone off to the African nations. So it's been a very settled Man City team. What he's trying to say is, look, if he'd have had the same settled situation, he's lost Kante for large periods, Kovacic has been out, he's lost Lukaku, he's now lost both wing-backs. They're key players. And he hasn't moaned. So he's come through that 1 win in 5. I still do feel that the players he was putting out were good enough to win, but it's been much more difficult for him to manage his squad. Now they are coming back though from injury. It is getting better for Chelsea, but they've got to put that to one side, and they've got to go after this victory at the weekend. He's just explaining what I feel is a very intelligent manager, explaining what he's had to go through. We're all envious of the quality of player that he has to choose from, but nonetheless, he's had his fair share of injuries this season.
But that is the issue, isn't it, ultimately? Because when this Chelsea side were formed, let's say, this season, everyone talked about the squad depth and how they were the competitor for Manchester City, and now that doesn't seem to be the case with what Thomas Tuchel is alluding to there by not having a full squad that can compete.
Chilwell out, Reece James out, that's both wing-backs. If you took both full-backs out at Liverpool, Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, you'd be suffering, wouldn't you, if you were in the Liverpool team? So you can't keep taking players out and be as good as you normally are. So I think that's, he's had a problem.
Okay.
And it's like, now have they got enough? I do feel they'll go into the transfer market. They probably do need to buy another wing-back on the left-hand side. Alonso's been asked to play a lot of football. Maybe the right back, they might need to do that. Azpilicueta not getting younger. He's having to fill in an array. They've had a succession of back three formations. Thiago Silva's been out. He's key, by the way. He's got to come into the team this weekend. His passing is absolutely fantastic in that. The way that he orchestrates everything for them, builds their attacks, plays those really wonderful diagonal balls into wide positions, controlling play. So he'll play a big part. You want him back in the team. Mendes away at the moment, the goalkeeper. So they have been weakened, and as every team have. But City, it seems to help them actually when they evolve the players, they make changes. They're used to change. The manager starts to to evolve the squad very early in the season. And that's why they were able to go 11 games, winning 11 games on the bounce. They did something similar last year from November through to March. It was quite remarkable. And they'll probably do the same again. So when you come up against your opponent, these head-to-heads are massive, even bigger. Got to get something out of it. They've got to win this game. Normally a draw, you'd be almost happy with it. Liverpool might be happy with a draw. But Chelsea cannot lose this game if Man City are not going to be champions. Because if they win this game, City, then one feels they're just going to run away with it. And we mustn't remember the trilogy of end of last season, where Pep Guardiola really came out second best to Tuchel. And he won't like that. He won't enjoy that. The end of last season, if you remember, they put them out at the semi-final of the FA Cup. They also secured fourth place by beating Man City end of last season. They won the Champions League. So that doesn't happen very often. So there's quite a lot professional riding on this, who wants to be the best team, the best manager, and I'm pretty certain Pep Guardiola will want to do something emphatic this weekend.
Well, it's been confirmed as well that Andreas Christensen will be missing because of COVID, unfortunately, so he misses the game as well. So another big name player absent for Chelsea. Martin Keown there, Simon, saying that if Chelsea lose, it's pretty much game over. Would you agree with that, title-wise?
I think it's going to be difficult to argue to the contrary. I think I agree with Martin. I do think Tuchel has prepared, because he knows the environment he's working in, and whilst he was everybody's, and me included, favourite after his achievements last year, where you break the mould of people having to be told that they have to take forever and a day to build a team. He walks in the door and wins the Champions League in 6 months.
It's not even 12 months he's been at the club,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, that the idea that they would have a chance to win the league, I felt that they would be, whoever finished above them would win the league. And I didn't think actually anyone would finish above them. If they are depleted, and he's right to say that the beauty of Man City's position, alongside the fact that their football is irresistible, is they've been able to have a consistent lineup. Right? You still have to get a consistent level of performance, because the other argument is that you need a certain type of player and a certain type of manager to be able to elicit a consistent level of performance. But momentum brings momentum. Winning brings winning. It'll be interesting to see. Given the fact that he hasn't had the ability to have a settled lineup, Chelsea have been a little bit less than they were, and it started to come back in again. Their performance against Liverpool, I felt at times was outstanding. They were unlucky to find themselves chasing the game, and they were certainly another 5 minutes in that first half. They'd have gone in 3-2 up, and the dimensions of that game would have changed, because Chelsea stuck it on Liverpool, and Liverpool didn't know whether they were Arthur or Martha. And the bottom line is, Martin's analysis, Kovacic was outstanding as a player. And Chelsea will be a force in this division, but I just think the momentum, the belief, the consistency, even if this game goes to Chelsea, will still be with Man City.
I think what's remarkable with City, we still don't really know which is their best 11, do we? So who is it on the wing? Is it Grealish? Is it Foden? Is it Mahrez? Is it Silva? Is it De Bruyne? We don't really know. It doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to matter that there's no centre forward. It's a succession of players. It doesn't seem to matter that is it Rodri or Fernandinho in midfield. It is very much matters at the moment. It's Laporte and Diaz as two central defenders. They look the best at the moment. Stones has lost that opportunity, and Cancelo at left back and Walker now back in the fold. So, there was a chance maybe when there was a couple. There were a few issues defensively, but now everyone's back in situ. Mahrez is at the African nations. Will he even get back in the team? When he left, he was a top goal scorer. So, everyone is really making a contribution at City, and I think that's brilliant the way the manager does it. They can't be reliant on any one player.
Very, very quickly, and just lastly on this then. Chelsea 10 points, as we say, off Manchester City. Could be 13 if they lose this one. Is that gap a false gap because of their squad issues? Are they actually closer to Manchester City than that, as the table suggests?
No, that's the league table never lies. It never lies.
You tell the Brentford people, they say it does lie.
It tells a story. I mean, at the moment, obviously, it's distorted because we've got, look at Spurs, for instance. They're 3 games behind. So, Manchester United games in hand. Other teams, Burnley, can they stay up if they win those matches in hand? Another game for them off, by the way, this weekend. So, no, it doesn't lie. I don't think he's complaining Tuchel. I think he's actually a real firm competitor. I think he really is desperate to take City on. I think we're lucky to have him in this country. He's an outstanding manager. Everything he does, methodical. He knows his tactics inside out. And at the moment, he's getting the better of Pep Guardiola. And professionally, Pep won't enjoy that.